At this time, we officially want to welcome you to our broadcast. Of course, this is the Hour of Politics. As always, with me, Ansony, Sieh, your host. Welcome and welcome to the broadcast. Please do us that usual favor, share this broadcast. This search for a leader for a country in economic peril cannot be overemphasized. And if anybody is to be part of this search, that's you who listening right now. Will Tiawan be the guy? We will find out today from his team. At this time, I will show you the segment of today's discussion with Team Tiawan Gongloe. And may I say, this is conversation with members of Team Tiawan Gongloe Diaspora. To make this conversation happen, number one, we'll talk about Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, the leader. Is he actually a leader? If yes, what kind of leader is he? Does he possess the qualities that Liberians are looking for? Also, we will be assessing and prospecting Tiawan Gongloe's candidacy. Is he going to win this thing? He was here and he said, look, I will win it in the first round. Really? Well, his team will be here. They are here already, I should say. Number three, the Gongloe's plans for a better Liberia. Does he have a plan for Mama Liberia that will deliver us? Because the talk will not do it, a plan will do it. Seated, ready to roll, is a member of Team Tiawan Gongloe Diaspora, Dr. Sam G. Kwan. Sam, welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much, Brother Sieh. I'm happy to be here.
All right. Hey, I'm happy to be here too with you. In this conversation with Team Tiawan Gongloe Diaspora. How you doing, by the way? How's family? We share the same state, Minnesota. The winter thing, it can't go away, my man. What's going on?
I know, but I've been here for a long time now in Minnesota, so I can't complain about the winter anymore. I'd rather focus on the upcoming summer. It will come. You know, in our culture, they say anything that got leg will walk one day, right?
Oh. Yeah.
So someone's gonna come. I'm happy. Minnesota has been good to me. I think I told you earlier. I came here as a refugee, hustling, and this has been my home now for almost 30 years. So, but our old people also say, no matter how long a piece of steak stays in the river, it will never turn to fish, right?
Exactly.
No matter how long we have been here, Liberia remains our home, and whatever blessings we have, whatever knowledge we have, we can't sit here and just whine and complain about how bad things are at home. We are willing to do what we can do to see if we can get our people to hear the message, and all of us get into this grassroots effort to actually bring a better Liberia to pass, because it is possible.
I couldn't agree more. It is possible only if we agree that it's possible, and not only stop there and make it happen. Will your team make it happen? And that is why we invited you. Let us get quickly to it. Tiawan is running to be president. I like this word called leader. Some people take it lightly. My friend Dennis would tell me, Ansony, leadership is a life and death situation. We have seen it in Liberia. We have leaders who have dragged us in the mud, and we are still paying for it.
True.
So when you hear about the word leader, and now Tiawan in the picture, my question is, what kind of leader do you know Tiawan Gongloe to be?
Well, I know Tiawan to be a man of principle. That's one thing that is essential in leadership, right? I could tell you, if you ask me a question today about Tiawan, I can tell you what his answer will be, because he's a man of principle. And his principles have not been about circumstantial, where, today you'll say, yes, depending on the circumstances, or no, depending on the circumstances. No, he has been that straightforward person with good moral character, and he has practiced his leadership as based on these principles. So he is a principle leader. He's a person with moral character. Now, I don't want to call names, but you go to Liberia right now, find a person that was a minister, a solicitor general who married with 3 children. I mean, my father said he had 50 children, right?
Wow.
So, I mean, there's certain things that you can look at the person. And he will say, I've been in all these positions. I've been audited many times. Some of the audits, he even requests for it himself and say, okay, check me out. I was here for these many years. See if I did something wrong. Not to brag about it. The reason why we are even here is because he doesn't brag about it. Most Liberians know he's a good man, but they don't know why people say he's a good man, because he doesn't brag about it. So we are representing him to introduce him to the people, to say, yes, the kind of person he is. He has good moral character. He practices his leadership based on principles that are universally accepted. And I am part of his campaign today because I'm learning from him, right? I'm learning from him that if it is true that this guy can accomplish this thing, that he can be a leader, that he can have these positions in government and still be clean, I can learn to do that too.
So you say you are learning from him, and what are some of the things that you learned that brought you to the point to say, I'm going to be part of his team?
Well, one of those of us outside of Liberia, our biggest frustration in Liberia is the lack of a system and the prevalence of corruption and impunity, right? That's one of our big things. And he exemplifies our frustration in Liberia, right? By not just practicing the lack of corruption, but also going after certain people that he thought were corrupt. You will know that he's the only solicitor general that actually persecuted a former president, right? Like Judy Bryant. Remember that, right?
Right.
So it's like, okay, so he sees what we see, he feels what we feel, even though he did not get a guilty verdict in that. It was not up to him, because persecutors don't condemn people as being guilty. He just presented the case. Like, this is not okay, this is not acceptable, we think this is wrong, and he brought it to court. It was the court or the jury's decision to figure out whether the person was guilty or not. Now, if you were to bring that kind of favor into the office of the president, where if somebody broke the law, regardless of what your status is in society, or if somebody did not live up to the expectation, regardless of the position you hold or you held in society, we are still going to hold you accountable to that. We think that's exemplary. So I'm learning from him that even though we live in a culture of extended relationships where justice is dispensed based on our relationships. One of the things, somebody called me last week and said, my man, I don't know if y'all know that Tiawan guy you're supporting, he in power, he's not going to back you up when you do something wrong, right? And I said, exactly. That's why I'm voting for him. Because in a system that's based on supporting people based on their relationships to people in power, that's how come the corruption has never ended. That's how come impunity persists in our society. So if we had just that one example of somebody that will dispense law based on law as it was intended to be dispensed, we think that country has a bright future.
Thank you. And you know, we hear about 7 leader. We also hear words like, oh, the person is a tyrant. We hear that the person is a dictator. This person is authoritative. You know, those words are thrown around when we are talking about leadership. And my little research on about leadership is, at some point, being authoritative becomes necessary. Whereas at some point, being a servant leader becomes necessary. And then at some point, being more of a democratic or representative leader becomes necessary. Do you know because all of these qualities or these styles of leadership will become necessary at some point to be applied. What we see in Tiawan is he's this more or less straightforward guy. Oh, I'm the man of the law. I'm just going like this. Do you think that he will be able to navigate between these different styles of leadership when one is expedient and will apply that and will not stick to his law thing and being straightforward?
That's where being a man of principle and of moral character comes in. That's why it's essential. Now, you don't your character does not change based on the position you are in, right? If you are a man of good moral standing, whether you're a president or you're the cowboy, you will still be that kind of a person. And I think it was former First Lady of the U.S., Michelle Obama, that said the presidency does not change you. What the presidency does, it gives you the platform for whatever's inside you
to be revealed,
to come out, right? So if we were to have a role model that got something good inside him, and that office gives him the opportunity and the privilege for that good thing to come out,
right?
A lot of us will emulate it.
And how do you know, and how can we be sure that when it comes to Tiawan, whatever good qualities are in him will be revealed when he becomes president? Because it's obvious that most leaders, the opposite comes out.
Well, that contradicts the statement I just said. If you say most leaders, the opposite come out, it means the opposite was already in them. And then when they when they got the position, it only came out, right? But it was already there. Now, none of us has a crystal ball to say, I know the future, I know what can happen in the future. Right. But in behavior theory, they say the best predictor of a person's future action is based on their past actions, right?
Does that apply to everybody? We've seen people who have exhibited very good qualities and character, and they are given power and they get corrupted by absolute power.
Okay. So, now if you talk about absolute power, the presidency of Liberia is not supposed to be an absolute power, right?
Do you believe it is?
We're in a system that's supposed to have like a three-branch system that was supposed to be equal. Now, it has so happened that most Liberians think of the president as an imperial president because, hey,
isn't that the fact?
Well, that's the reality. Realities can be changed, right?
Okay.
Realities can be changed, but that's the reality now. But that's also because the people that get into power, they love that power. They love to be imperial. They love to be that one person that knows everything, right? Now, that has not been Tiawan's reputation or his character in the past. The fact that I'm even sitting here today to represent him, to talk for him, is an example. There are certain people right now in the Liberian government that won't talk to people like myself because, they don't want to call anybody around them that, okay, I got a doctorate degree to my title, or this other person got this bigger experience or this bigger thing. So what they do is they ostracize anybody that they think might look a little better or know something a little better, right? But that has not been the case with Tiawan from time immemorial. He has been, regardless of his position, he has been humble. He has always sought advice. He has always been able, if he thought somebody knew something better or can do something better, to give them that opportunity.
So, in short, Dr. Kwan, what kind of leader is Tiawan, and that you think he's going to be, should he be blessed enough to become Liberia's president?
Okay, I see him as a transformational leader, where it's like he's not only what some other people we call leaders in Liberia. That's why people don't even know what the definition of leadership is anymore in Liberia, because we just, anybody that has a bowl, a horn, or a microphone to talk, anybody that appears on the radio, or any kind of charismatic person is considered a leader, right, in Liberia. But Tiawan being seen as a transformational leader is somebody who just doesn't focus on the problems. We have people today in power who just came to just expound the problem. Oh, there's Liberia got this problem. He looks for solutions. So, for example, he will tell you in the justice system in Liberia was being run kind of lackadaisically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he became a solicitor general, he's like, okay, we have prosecutors that are bringing people to bear to court, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who have never been to law school, probably have never read a law book, and then they bring people to court to persecute them. Or that's how come most of our cases never go to court, because the persecutors themselves don't even know what provision of the law they were supposed to persecute, right?
Yeah.
So when he got there knowing the problem, he said, here's a problem. How can we fix this? Wow. Solution is, let's make sure all the persecutors, the public defenders in these places are actual law school graduates who know the law, who know how to apply the law. Because what we see sometimes as impunity is just ineptitude. It's not like the people want the criminal to go free. They just don't know what provisions of the law to use in order to find them guilty, because the persecutor never went to law school.
Thank you.
Changed the system.
Okay.
Now I can name some more, but
and may I ask you, Dr. Kwan, if you don't mind, you said Tiawan is a transformative kind of leader. Now, when you say that, I would think you are looking at his record of being a transformative leader, that areas that his work has transformed those institutions as they had then.
Exactly.
And the records are there to prove. If that is the case, naming institutions he headed and the kinds of transformation he carried out that Liberians can relate to.
I just said one. So, like, for example, like the county attorney's offices in every county now has a law school. The county attorney for every county is a law school graduate. That's the first time in the history of our country. So we have each county now at least has one legal representative that actually is a law school graduate that knows how to apply the law. That's one transformation. Another one, when he was at Ministry of Labor, I think you know about the work permit issue, right? We have a lot of corporations in Liberia that come build their corporations in our country. They use our resources, but they never hire Liberian people to work for them. Right?
Right.
And one of the reasons why it was easier and more convenient for them to bring somebody from outside the country.
And you think the records are there?
The records are there. Check it out. You will find out where the work permit came from $400 to $1,000, right? So as to discourage international corporations from bringing people in. It's a $1,000 a year every year until you can hire a Liberian. Look at the employment records of those corporations. The day that law passed, he will tell you, in fact, that the reason you go to some of these big supermarkets and you see a Liberian person as a cashier, it never used to happen before. But now they are hiring Liberians. That's just a small example. But if you went to bigger corporations, you will find there are Liberians in positions that Liberians never held before. But that was because of that transformational change that happened in that place. Like, we are going to make it more convenient to hire Liberians than to bring a foreigner into the country. But one of the reasons he gave me when I asked him why he wanted to run, he told me, he said, okay, I've made these little changes with these little places I've been. But if we really want to transform this country, the only way we can do that, if we have somebody in that executive mansion that sees the vision we see and is willing and has the political will to implement such vision, right? So for the little places he's been, he's done some changes. If you even see his reputation as the poor man lawyer, I mean, so like there are a lot of people when they get into prison in Liberia, that's the first number they call. And you will see that Tiawan's one person I know that wakes up at 4 a.m., right? And
Yeah.
goes to bed like late at night because his phone is never put on silence or something. He's waiting for that call, but somebody that got unjustifiably imprisoned or somebody that's within the grips of the system unjustifiably, and he will go there, whether they can
And,
pay
and,
him,
and
whether
so
they
you
can
think
pay him or not.
so you think he is that leader who will pick up that 3 a.m. call
He will
unless
be,
it's something
he
bordering on national security?
I have no doubt. I have no doubt that if he were there, but here's the thing, here's what makes him a leader,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just he will be available to pick up that 3 a.m. call.
Mm-hmm.
He's creating a whole new breed of Liberians that will be ready to pick up that call.
Thank you. Folks, if you are just joining us, I want to say welcome to the broadcast. This is the Hour of Politics here, focused on Liberia. I'm Ansony Sieh hosting. We are in conversation with Saye Gongloe Diaspora. Saye Gongloe is represented by Dr. Saye Gongloe and Sir Dave Toja, who is here and ready. And Dave, welcome. We have been talking about Tiawan Gongloe, the leader, what kind of leader he is. And your colleague here said he's a transformative kind of leader. I know there are so many leadership styles that can be in an individual. Uh, in addition to the transformative leadership style that's in him, do you know of any that Tiawan possesses that might be a good one for Liberia?
Oh, thank you, Ansony, and thanks, Dr. Kwan. I'm delighted to be on the same panel with you. Uh, I know how significant this is. I continue to say that Liberia is at a crossroad, and this is the time for us to right the wrongs of the past. Um, one of the cardinal things about about leadership Ansony, is someone who understands the system and the community in which to work.
Okay.
One thing I've always said most of the time is most people want to lead Liberia, a country that they do not know, a country, the people that they do not understand. That has been one of our major problems. We used to say, and I think we still do that, we say that, you know, there are black people, there are white people, and there are Liberian people. To govern Liberians, you got to understand them. You have to be part of the system. Understand how Liberians think, how they act, how they work, and how they interact. I don't see anybody within the political arrangement right now that understands Liberia so deeply and the people so deeply than Councillor Gongloe. So to be a leader, you have to understand the people. You have to know what they feel, what they think, how they act. Even their jargons, you got to understand them. And you also have to have a deep appreciation and respect for the people that you govern or that you want to govern. If you have that deep respect, you will get the best out of them. See, because leadership is just like taking people's strength, elevating their strength. Okay, sometimes even overlooking the weaknesses and elevating their strength. And in order to elevate somebody's strength, you have to understand them. Tiawan understands that. He understands those people. He has participated with them. He has interacted with them. I sit sometimes. I watch his clips. I watch his clips. I listen to some of his responses that he gave to people, and I say, Liberia, this is what you need. This is the kind of person that you
And
want
so,
in leadership.
Dave, if I may here, that begs the question. I want person to, because this is what I do. So I listen to all of them, those who are running. so that I know what's in their head, what they're saying, so I can be able to ask the right questions. Like you said, Tiawan has been giving solid answers to the issues. I couldn't agree more. But the question is, where has this Tiawan been when this country has been struggling for leadership? Right? That's the first one. And the other one is that there's this criticism that Tiawan in his party, the LPP, has more like been on the fence. And he has not been involved. You were talking about leader needs to know the people and elevate, their strength. The LPP, his party, has been dormant for a long time. Where has he been as a leader?
I can help answer some of that.
Okay, go ahead.
That was a very good question, Mr. Sieh. Where has Tiawan been? You see, our actions are determined by our perception of what we can do. Those of us that want to do something or change something is also based on what we can do, right? Okay. Now, for where has Tiawan been? He has been out there on the streets advocating for the downtrodden, for the politically oppressed people, because that's what he saw himself mostly as an advocate, a legal advocate for those kind of people, and never saw himself really as a politician. I'm one of those people that have asked him several times to run in the past, and he kept saying no. He said, no,
I'm not a politician now?
Well, based on, hold on, let me finish this statement. Okay. So he was saying, no, I'm an advocate, I'm a human rights stuff. There are a lot more pressing issue that affects the common Liberian right now than politics. So he did what he thought was best and what he thought he was good at those times, being the advocate for the common man at that time. Now, when I heard he was good, in fact, the last time I was in Liberia about 5 years ago, I met him again and said, hey, man, I think you should think about that running thing. And he said, I don't think Liberia is ready for somebody like me in politics, because somebody that speaks the truth to power, somebody that tells folks what they don't want to hear. He said, I don't think the Liberian people are ready yet. So when I heard last year that he had agreed to run, I said, you need to talk to me. We need to talk. And that was my question to him. I said, I've been asking you for over 20 years now to run, and you said no. What changed? And he said, I think the Liberian people are now ready for somebody like me.
And I asked you that question. Do you think the Liberian people are ready?
I'm coming. I'll tell you what he said, right? He said, I think the Liberian people are ready for politicians. I said, why? Why would you think so? He said, one, they've tried a lot of other combination of politicians. We've tried this one and that one. We've tried celebrities. We tried all the other stuff, right? And none of them have worked successfully so far. Secondly, he says, at the rate things are in Liberia, suddenly integrity is now something the common person is now talking about. He said, I said, what do you mean? He said, remember that little kid, what was his name? Emmanuel Tulo, the one that found a bag of money.
Okay.
And then turned it over. Became a celebrity. Because the first reaction, the first Liberians, that happened in my own hometown. The first set of Liberians that contacted him told him he was stupid to get a bag of money and turn it over and say, your own a blessing drop. And then but then the word got out. And if you can remember the uprising of the Liberian people, suddenly integrity was a thing in Liberia that people admired, they looked forward to. Even the president called the kid to his resident and gave him a certificate, right? Integrity is now a topic in Liberia. And then he said, now I think the Liberian people are ready for the kind of message I bring to the table.
For you to conclude,
I tried several times before, but the Liberian people were not ready.
I heard that, but I'm interested. What do you think? Because Tiawan could well be wrong here, because I know us, Liberians, very few of us can sustain something and get consistent with it. Will Liberians not be the Coca-Cola kind of people that we have always been with this issue?
I was recently in Liberia, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not because the Liberian people they will fizzle out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the Liberian people have never seen this before, right? They
Mm-hmm.
really don't believe that a politician can be somebody of character,
All right.
because they don't believe it. But
Mm-hmm.
that's where the transformation comes in.
Mm-hmm.
If we can have this one good example, right? It will be so easy for the Liberian people. That's all it took for Botswana. That's all it took for Rwanda. That's all it took for Chile and all these other people. One good example got up. And if the Liberian people give us this opportunity to get that one good example, that you can become president and not steal.
Thank you.
He told me, if the president don't steal, the minister will not steal.
Thank
If
you.
the minister does not steal, it will flow down the entire ministry. And if we can have one good term where people that serve in the government actually serve, not for personal aggrandizement, but serve the people of Liberia. The Liberian people see that, even for one short term.
Thank you.
They will never let themselves to be used the way these people are doing right now.
Thank you. Let me come to Sir Dave Toja. Dave, people tell work this very line. The very broom that Tiawan is holding today as a leader, as a symbolism of transparency and fairness, people tell walk that path. The Liberian people never saw him. They are noted for, yearning for something for just for the very short period of time. The idea that there's appetite now for integrity. In my short life, I know our people. So I want you to talk about that and relate that to Tiawan and the criticism against Tiawan on the LPP leadership thing.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish that, because that sounds like a follow-up on my statement.
But
all right. No, because that's why I said, that's why I come in and say, I trust his judgment. He's on the grounds. He's one of those people that never left.
Okay.
And like, yes, you said Tipote tried it several times, but that's when Tiawan kept saying the Liberian people were not ready, right? He was there when Tipote was trying. He was part of the LPP system, and he kept saying the Liberian people were not ready. And if he can come back now to me and say, I think they're ready, right?
All right. So what I'm hearing from you is,
so even though we got some bad examples, I'm
hearing from you is, since I won't say they are ready, Dave.
He's on the grounds, my man. He is on the grounds, and he interacts with.
There was on the ground that Dave, let me hear you, Dave.
All right.
Yeah.
You see, Ansony, sometimes we say that everything has its own time.
Okay.
They said if you want to experience the weight of a cat,
right,
turn yourself into a mouse. That's what our people say. You see, for a long period of time. And also we say that experience is the best teacher. Over the years, the Liberian people have tried everything. We've tried instant gratification. The food did not last on their table. We think that by having a corrupt friend in government is going to help me as an individual. It's going to help my neighbors because they have their friends in government that can siphon some resources to them. But that itself is short-lived. So we've tried all of those things. We have seen where lack of integrity has taken this nation. We have seen where corruption, greed, self-aggrandizement have taken this nation. The Liberian people have gone through it all. We've tried war. We tried the conflicts. It didn't help us. If you can steal, I will still vote for you. If you kill my mom, meaning if you are dishonest, if you are wicked, if you are a brutal person, I will still vote for you. It did not take us anywhere. Now someone is saying, let's try integrity. Let's try the respect for the dignity of human kind. Let's try respect for laws. Whether I'm a big person or a small person, I should have equal right before the law. Whether I can speak big book or small book, we should all be equal in front of the law. If I deserve a job, let me get it. Not because you are connected to this other person. Let's try that and see, Liberian people, and see whether our problems are still going to be the same. So, this is the time for us to try integrity. Someone with a respect for the rule of law. Assuming if these things, if these virtues feel Liberian people, then what else can we depend on? We claim to be a nation a Christian nation. These are the virtues that even the Bible speak about. Bible speaks about integrity. It speaks about treating the least of thy brethren amongst you, treating them with respect. So if we can try the integrity, respect for the rule of law, kindness, listening to even the least among us, if we try this and it doesn't work for us again, then we are doomed. So we've tried all the vices, they didn't help us. Integrity, I'm sure, will help us. Love for country, love for human beings, love for your fellow friends, I'm sure is going to help us this time around. Let us not be overly cynical about the Liberian people. Let us give them the benefit of the doubt because we've tried all those things. So even in the yes, you saying
If I
something
may
like
follow
putting
up
on
here, I am saying here, I like the message you guys are preaching. I will concede yes that that's the right message. But the reality, as Dr. Kwan said, on the ground, where Tiawan is totally different than what is being painted here, folks. So
Yeah.
we have a guy called Alex Tyler. He was named Corruption King Kong. We know Edwin Mervyn Snow. He doesn't have a good reputation in Liberia. The likes of Vanny Sherman. These people, history and record replete with questionable deals. Yet Liberians elect these people. And in fact, these are the people they respect because they know they have stolen and have enough. And they will despise Etipote and Famune and other well-meaning Liberians, including Dr. Sawyer, may his soul rest in peace, who conducted themselves, with integrity in our country. How can you telling me this has changed now?
No. I think Sieh, our message comes in twofold. We're not necessarily saying the people of Liberia have changed in a way dramatically. We are saying what the underlying premise of our point is that the Liberian people are ready, right? The people are frustrated, my man. When you go to Liberia now, you can't judge the Liberia today by the Liberia that was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You can't judge the Liberia today by the Liberia that was 2-3 years ago, right? Even the seditious themselves are disgruntled, disappointed, and everybody is looking for a different breed of politician. Now, while it's true that there are politicians you name, they thrived in a former system, it's true. People look up to them because they figure out how to succeed in that ugly system, right? So if you have an ugly system, you still look up to the people that were able to utilize that system successfully. Now, what our message is because the Liberian people have come to the realization that system don't work for them. It might have worked for Snow, it might have worked for Sherman, but it's not working for them anymore. It never did work for them. But when you and I were growing up, politics, what the people think, that the people think. Our parents never really encouraged us to even get into politics. This is my first time even getting into national politics at my age in Liberia, because we have come to realize it's no longer the people thing. It's like whatever these guys do, it impacts us directly. How much we're paying for rice today is based on what they did. Not because there's shortage of rice on the international market. Rice is plentiful, but if we are having problem with it, why should we even depend on different countries to feed us? Right?
Thank you, Dr. Kwan.
So it's like, hey, the Liberian people are ready for something different. When they fought for the CDC, they came looking for change. Now they have realized not every change is good. They got the change, but the suffering still.
Thank you.
Now, what we are bringing to the table is a different kind of change.
A different kind of change.
6 years from now, we'll put them in a position where they can start to aspire to be the best they can be. No longer just living from hand to mouth day to day.
Thank you, Dr. Kwan.
Can start to plan for a future, even if it's not for themselves, but knowing that once we straighten this thing out, their children will have a better experience in Liberia than they are having currently.
Thank you, Dr. Kwan. Thank you
Ansony,
so much.
Ansony,
and Dave, I want you to touch on the LPP criticism, and this is what I think is important because we have to look at Tiawan track record squarely. He has been part of one of Liberia's, longest standing political party, the LPP.
True.
And the party became dormant. And even while he's trying to run for president, I don't see the presence of the political party. There's a question there. Don't you think that is significant?
It is. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. I was here by myself for a little bit, so I guess.
You
but you can
you
go
got
ahead.
used to the role now. That's still fine. We're still in the same basket, But Ansony, even that, we're not trying to sugarcoat this whole thing. That is an easy walk. Integrity is going to win the day. We have to still present the message. We have to let the Liberian people know that we have a better alternative to what you've been having before.
Right.
Okay. So on the LPP part, from the very onset, I told you before, the Liberian People's Party has faced a lot of problems. Okay. Just like most political institutions in our country that have not been in power, once you are not in power, you have a lot of challenges. Even after a political party is out of power, they begin to face challenges. Then what more about a party that was killed in its very formative stage, during the military era of Samuel Doe. Okay, and since that time,
has been since gone, Dave.
Yeah, I understand that. And since that time, you have seen the mushrooming of political parties and all of these things. But yet, still, despite other people leaving the Liberian People's Party and it's facing a lot of challenges, the fundamental beliefs and principles of the party remained. Okay, and there are still elements of the political party that continue to structure it well. If you want to, Mr. Samukai, who is also the mobilization chairman for Team Gongloe, is also an active member of the LPP. We continue to rebuild that organization, and in fact, this coming month,
really, and yet he contested on a Unity Party ticket. Dave?
Let me comment. Let me comment.
Hold on, that was let him land.
Just like any political party with challenges, Yes, but we're not going to assume here that things are perfect. But the party is to a point where it is capable of feeding a candidate. Feeding a candidate.
And Dave, the reason I'm holding on this question.
But do you also know that we have won a seat before?
The reason I'm holding on this question, gentlemen, is the fact that, hold on, gentlemen, the reason I'm holding on this question is we always say, right, that a political party is a government in waiting.
Yeah.
That is the fact, democratically speaking, in terms of our politics.
That should be the fact.
If this is a government in waiting, we need to see it for the government it is to be. And that is why I don't see with the LPP.
That's a fair question. But the whole issue of the LPP speaks to what we said earlier about Tiawan being a man of principle, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the LPP was founded back in the late, the people that founded the LPP, when they got together in the late 70s, they had an idea of what an African country like Liberia is supposed to be. They wrote down principles, and they wrote down like what was considered their Magna Charter at that time to build a better Liberia in the late 70s. That perception, that gathering brought people like Sawyer, Fambule, Tipote, all those people together who were at that time the indigenous brains or the Liberian brains at that time got together with a principle, and they came out with a document. Now, when the military took over and realized, hey, they didn't want this group of guys meeting again and getting together, the LPP was banned from political activities at that time, right? And so it dispersed Fambule and Tipote and the other leaders. There were other young people at Tiawan, Gompu, George Claykie, and Kapacha Weir, all those young people too that were coming up. But the government did not want these people to get around. So the LPP didn't just die down. It was legal, it was banned from practicing.
And that was the past.
Remember now, hold on.
That was the past.
Let me give you the story. Hold on.
That was the past. I don't want to dwell on the history.
What?
I don't want to dwell on the history now.
No. Listen, but you can talk about the future and say, I don't want to hear the history. I'm not dwelling on it. It looked like some people didn't know that the LPP just didn't disappear. It was actually banned from political practice.
You're talking about something over 30 years ago. You're talking about something over 30 years ago.
Listen, listen. So then, even though you said over 30 years ago, but I can tell you, Liberia has never been politically stable since that time. All right. So all the founders, and active members, active members, LPP, they dispersed, and whatever government was in authority,
the Rocky political party, CDC came and ate your lunch.
Yes, the CDC did. And like I said, so Tiawan could have started their own party right now. That was our goal when we went to him.
How would that have been a good decision in the first place?
No, listen. That was our goal. What do you mean? How would that be? How many political parties run for the presidency last year? I think it was almost 29. Anybody in Liberia can form a party, and we are attracted to politicians' personality, not their principles, as it is in Liberia. But he being a man of principle.
He stayed with his party, and I think I like that.
He being a man of principle said, listen, I used to be a part of this party. I never really resigned from there, even though the party has dissipated and we're all over the place. I think we're able to come back together. And that dream we had.
Fast forward.
That dream we have. But that's what we're doing right now. You don't know about it. It's true you say an opposition party should be a government in waiting. But in our effort to bring the LPP partisans back together, even I didn't know more than 10 of them. But now we're reaching out to them guys. The dream is still alive. It didn't die. So now they're planning, they're planning to have a convention in June.
All right.
If they do have that convention successfully, then that government waiting you're talking about will start to see, okay, who's here? What do you bring to the table? And now let's start thinking about how to form that government waiting. But until that convention comes, until we bring the people back to the table, right? As many of the original principles that started their party, bring them on the same table to say, please re-expound that vision. I'm coming in right now. I don't know the original vision. I want to sit at the same table with Fambula, with Tiawan, with those people. Let them tell us what was that vision, and we can resurrect that vision. And
thank you.
So thank you. You will find your government waiting. You just gotta wait for the convention.
Thank you, Dr. Pan, and thank you. I mean, I like the energy you brought to the conversation for a guy who has distrusted the system for so long, and now, getting in politics, in your own words, at your age, getting there. That means that it's something that you see, And
hope is a strong motivator, my man. I got hope now.
Okay.
And that's a strong motivator.
And that is significant. Gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will be assessing the prospect of Tiawan Gongloe's candidacy for victory. He said, his own words, I'm going to win it in the first round. That has not happened since Charles Taylor's time. Is Tiawan the guy who's going to do it? We will assess the possibility. A short break, we'll be back. And I will tell you, gentlemen, I have a gentleman who just joined the phone. His name is Benjamin Kofa Fanien. Ben, should I use that? Are you a crazy crew guy? That's a joke. Ben is on the phone. He's going to join me. He will ask some questions. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back, gentlemen.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Thank you, Dennis Jah. I'm Ansony Sieh, host of the Hour of Politics. Today's edition, we are in a very lively conversation with members of Team Gongloe Diaspora. And gentlemen, we will now move into the next segment of the discussion, assessing and prospecting Gongloe's 2023 candidacy. And gentlemen, before I can get back to you, let me welcome a gentleman here, Benjamin Kofa Fanien. You are on the phone. How you doing, Ben? Thanks for joining in.
Well, I have never been better. I want to say I've been listening to you guys. You guys are pretty interesting. So I will just wait for my opportunity to get my 2 cents in.
All right, so let me get your take. You've listened to the gentleman, providing, I would say, solid answers to the serious questions that I'm asking, and I think the discussion is going very well. What is your assessment of what have you heard so far, and what do you make of Tiawan Gongloe?
Well, the first thing I would say is I want to thank you because you raised a lot of important issues, but your guest who is supporting this Gongloe really didn't answer you. Let me just say one thing. You know, we have made a lot of mistakes in Liberia, simply assuming that it is okay to stand outside and say, well, the government is bad, the government is stealing. When you do that, it's all good. It's all good and you can make a lot of noise. But the most important aspect is you should provide what we call an alternative. You should provide solutions. You see what we see when I sat down here and I just paid attention to what you guys just saying. All I was hearing was, Tiawan Gongloe is a man of integrity. We are not talking about Mr. Gongloe here. We are talking about good governance in Liberia. Gongloe can be a man of integrity. That is all good. But for Gongloe to help fix Liberia, I want your guest over there to tell me some of the institutions that this man is going to establish and make sure that they function in Liberia. It's easy if the Georgia is the rule, it's easy if the Georgia is bad. But what are the corrective measures we're going to do when Georgia leaves or when we assume state power? You see, as I sat down here, I didn't hear your guest tell me that, I can go to a place and read about Mr. Gongloe's agenda, the blueprint, the plan he has for Liberia. And let me tell you this, for me, I'm interested in something documented. Mr. Gongloe is a lawyer. So I will use that as my evidence to say, at the time you were trying to attain state power, you said X, Y, and Z. But if there's nothing, we just talking. 4 months down the line, we'll all not remember what he's saying.
Thank you.
So what he's saying right now, that this man is a man of integrity, for me, what I would say is just hogwash. Give me this man roadmap, give me his blueprint, give me his alternative for Liberia. Then we'll be having a serious conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin Kofa Fanien there. And gentlemen, I think Ben said something, but Ben, I will say to you, we have not gotten to the aspect of Tiawan Gongloe's plan. Then I will ask them that question. And if time does not permit us, we'll have to bring them in to specifically talk about Tiawan's plan. Let me start with you, Dave. You just listening to Ben. Your take.
Yes, Ben was very low on my side. I couldn't really get him that
Oh,
much
really?
clear. Yeah.
Yeah, basically what he said was that you people are saying Tiawan Gongloe is a man of integrity, and that is all he's hearing from you people. And he said Tiawan Gongloe is a lawyer who deals with records, so he wants to see something documented somewhere as Tiawan's plan, so that tomorrow he can say, Tiawan, you said this. There's nothing written somewhere that he know of about Tiawan's plan for Liberia. That is what he's interested in. That's what he said.
Oh, I mean, that's a fair point. Definitely, Tiawan's plans is documented, and it will be documented. It will be for the viewing of the Liberian people, and those are the things by which he will be judged. His administration will be judged. Definitely, there are documentations. When I came the last time, also I informed you that even a website is under development, and they will have all of those things out there for the Liberian people. It's not just about integrity, but he's going to use that integrity, his experience, and not only just Gongloe, the kind of team that he is going to build around himself, around the Liberian nation, the Liberian people. And it's going to be something that Liberia has never witnessed in its history. So the Gongloe movement is out for serious structural changes, serious governing changes in our country, and as you can even listen to some of his statements, the rule of law is cardinal. Institutions have to function and work effectively. The legislative branch has to be very effective. The judicial branch has to be very effective. The even the executive branch, accountability, transparency, the lack of the absence of outreaching to, and of people overextending their functions, all of those things, making sure that there is no interference from higher ups, all of those things will be documented. They will be part of the structural changes that will come into place in Liberia. The good thing, again, as I said, is we have a persecutor who can persecute himself and who can even persecute his own government. So, yes, fair statement, and there is nothing that will remain untouched. Those documents are under full development, and we have a cadre of people that are willing, that are committed to do this work. As
Thank
Dr.
you.
Pan said, that he has not really actively participated in politics. I myself, I have not, openly declared any support for any individuals, in the past, where I would say this is, but I've been inspired by his candidacy. I told you before that I even had intention to run, but when I heard about the councillor running, I said, yes, there comes the true Liberian, that can help to right the wrongs of the past. So as
When
soon
you when you say true Liberian, what are you supposed
a
to?
true patriot, a true Liberian, a hardworking Liberian, a committed Liberian, a disciplined Liberian that is able to help us. And I continue to say, one person will not be able to do it, but this is someone who is willing to listen, who is willing to work and build a very strong team.
Thank you.
See,
Thank you,
and build
Dave.
a very strong team. We are in trouble,
I know
but
we are.
we can
That's
do
why
it.
we need
A
that's why
better
we need the right
Liberia
people.
is possible. Ansony, and this is why I'm always on fire to defend this candidate.
I see some fire coming from you guys.
I have never done this before.
I want to add. I want to
Yes,
add
please.
on what Sir Dave said earlier. All right. So when I got involved with Tiawan's, like I asked him the same question. So how you gonna do this? What's your plan? So he came out with, I think Tiawan is like the most exposed politician in Liberia right now. Every week, 3 or 4 times, he's on some kind of talk show or radio expounding his plan. So if Mr. I don't remember his name, but I think you call him Crazy Crew guy.
Yeah.
Right? So, Mr. Crazy Kruger, if you were listening to any other
He is
talk
Ben Finn. Sorry, I
is,
said that. I shouldn't have said that.
oh, okay. All
Ben
right.
Finn.
Okay. So, Mr. Ben, he's expounding, but just in case you want a rehash of it, he has expounded in his first 100 days. One of the very first things he wants to is establish the rule of law. Now, people have been saying that and they just throw it around, but the theory of the rule of law is where the law holds everybody accountable, right? Where they don't have different rules for people who know people and different rules for people who don't know people.
Right.
And then he said within that thing, it's also going to be a whole transformation of the justice system, where justice is applied equally to everybody. And the reason right now he feels that justice is not being applied equally to everybody is there's too much political involvement in the judiciary. So if the police were to arrest somebody right now in Monrovia, the first thing they take out their phone and they call a politician, right? And he said within the first 100 days, that's one of the things that's going to stop. A politician interfering with the judiciary is going to be made a crime. So that when you take your case to court, you know the judge is only going to use the laws as it is written in our law book, not based on who the defendant knows, right? So that's one of the things that are happening in the first 100 days. You've heard him say something about a woman empowerment, right? And he said from his personal experience, women seem to do a lot better at most things than us men. And one of the places so he's saying, listen, 50% of my cabinet is going to be female because these people, when they focus on something, they get it done. They're able to focus, but not just that. They come to the table not just with their logical cap on, but they come with that feeling that is lacking today in Liberia. The fact that young people can get murdered and nothing comes of it. It's like if there was a woman in that room, say, listen, now look at something got to happen.
Do you believe that? Because we have Joel Howard Taylor, who made a very insensitive statement of late that these rapes are happening because mothers are not being the mothers they're supposed to be. Now, the very Joel Howard Taylor, when it came to the issue of war crime code, she said the war crime code, because of the interconnectedness of our Liberian community, will have a ripple effect when one is taken to court to answer questions about their involvement in the war. That was a woman. That is
listen, no, Ansony. That is such a mismatch of comparison right there. Okay, Julia Howard Taylor.
But she's a woman.
Hold on. Not because having 50% of your cabinet female and having one female or two females in the room, it's not the same. Jewel Howard Taylor is in a position where she feels she needs to be like one of the men, right? Where she has, in order to fit in that room, in order to even be listened to, she has to be like one of those people. Even I think there's another cabinet minister that's female, gender minister.
Yeah. Well,
so in the kind of system you have right now, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody who values the opinion of these people, not just somebody. I mean, if you listen to how this government treats women, even if you remember the chairman of the party saying before a female gets any position in this position, the president has to sleep with them. Right. So if a woman has to sleep with you to get a position, you think she's in the right place to criticize, or does she feel like you value her based on her intelligence or based on her point of view? No. So that would not be a good comparison.
Hold on.
If you want to compare women,
let me poke your brain here on something.
Societies.
Let me poke your brain on something here. Knowing the person you know Tiawan to be. If he were in a Senate, and given what the chairman of CDC said, that the president to appoint a woman or appointed a woman because he has something to do with them sexually, would Tiawan be advocating for an impeachment, or will he be quiet at the others?
Sleeping with women is not one of the articles in our constitution that will lead to the impeachment of somebody. That's not, I mean...
don't you see that is an abuse of power by the president?
Hold on. It will only be considered an abuse of power if the woman came and reported that they were forced. Remember, it's like two adults doing whatever they allege they did. So there's a legal part of the thing. So if somebody came out and said, "Oh, the president has to sleep with somebody," unless that woman come out and say the president raped me, or the president,
will he at least ensure that the member is invited?
If he were there, seeing that he be a human rights advocate, I think he, even in one of his recent talk shows, he brought it out, and he said, "Listen, he said, these are his words. He said, I'm even angry with the women in the government right now. Like when they heard something like that, we didn't hear any woman come out to say that lie, right? Mm-hmm. There was not a single woman in a cabinet level or director level that came out to say that thing a lie. So what the senators supposed to do? Move on rumors? It's like sometimes I don't know, if I were in the Senate, if a woman didn't come out,
will you at least invite Mambamoro to explain himself?
Somebody did, and then he said, "Oh, that was just liquor talk." And that's how it ended, because it didn't become a legal thing.
Yeah,
right? And in order for it to become a legal thing, there needed to be a plaintiff.
So, gentlemen, let us come to assessing and prospecting Tiawan Gongloe's candidacy. At this time, I'm thinking about winnability, the ability to win, the possibility of winning, having the strategies and the message, and finding that way, looking at all the political variables to win this thing. And to that, Tiawan is on record for saying he's going to win it in the first round. I find that very difficult to believe. The reason Charles Taylor won in the first round in 1997, because it was a different circumstance at the time. In fact, the ECOMOG head, people were tired. He had controlled Greater Liberia, they call it, and people wanted peace, and they felt that peace for them was meant for the guy with the big gun to become president. So they even went as far as saying, whether he killed my mother, he killed my father, I'm going to vote for him because peace is what I need now. So they sacrificed their mothers and fathers to get peace. It's not because that was not because of Taylor, that he was loved and all that. They wanted peace. That circumstance is the only one that I've seen. Fast forward 2005, 2011, 2017, all other elections we had went to second round. Tiawan is saying he's going to win it. And this is the first person to say that in an election. How is that possible?
Well, Ansony, you spoke about the Taylor time where there was risk, perils hanging over the lives of the Liberian people. And those perils came from the guns and the brutality of Charles Taylor. Here we have another form of brutality, another form of peril that is facing the Liberian people on a daily basis. And that is, all those are the high scale of injustice that is happening in the country, the entrenched poverty that is happening in the country. People can't even have a full square meal in a day. The Liberian people have become even more impoverished than ever before. In fact, there was someone was saying that even when the war was going on, we were running here and there and we had food. But now we are in a kind of an economic malaise. There is entrenched poverty all across the country. So that is another form of peril that is hanging over the Liberian people. Therefore, they do not need to delay their suffering and their impoverishment. So on that day, it's based on those premises that the councillor is saying, and we are saying that the Liberian people are not going to engage in any form of dilly-dallying, like wasting their own time to go into second round. They will outrightly tell we as government, the CDC, that you have abused the privilege and the opportunity that we have given you. You have instead enriched yourself. You have enriched your cronies over the period of time. And therefore, we will not want you to wait for another minute in the executive mansion. We are going to get you out of here, and we will restore this nation to where it's supposed to be. And this is where that one round preposition is coming from. We're going to win it in the first round. And as the counselor had said, because the Liberian people can no longer delay their suffering and their impoverishment that have been brought upon them by this bunch of the incompetent and ill-prepared leadership that we have in Liberia. Liberians are suffering, and they can't wait. Even if they will have the elections conducted today, I'm sure the Liberian people want to really cut it a one-time shot. And that's where we are going to win these things in the first round.
And just to add up to that,
and Dr. Kwan, I want you to add, but may I add this there?
All right.
Weah was very popular. Ellen was popular as well, arguably. And yet, given the number of candidates that we always had in presidential election, numerically, it had become so or always been impossible for one individual to get a 50% plus one. So again, can Tiawan win this team first round?
Listen, I think you set the first question up right. So Taylor won that first round because the Liberian people were tired, right? We believe the Liberian people today are tired just as well. They want to live in a community that gives them that opportunity to aspire, to create a better future for their children and for even themselves. The Liberian people are tired. They've tried a lot of things, right? They try, and even like when they voted for the CDC, they were like, well, it looked like these people don't understand. We want one of our own people that grew up right in Ansony Wayne and play among us. Maybe when he gets there, he will do better. Now they're seeing it. It's like it takes somebody with this character that cares, somebody that will wake up at 3 a.m. when you call, even if he doesn't know you, and come get you out of prison, right? Somebody that you know. How many lawyers you know? You talk about one big lawyer that's even a senator and stuff like that. How many people in Liberia know his personal phone number, right? But you can go right now and you can call people randomly. But let's not forget this segment was to also talk about how we're going to talk about the plan, right? That's what this segment was about. Whether we win first round.
I don't want to dwell on a plan that is not rating somewhere that I can look up. It's okay. Aspirational as we speak, so I don't want to dwell. Right. Let's talk about
no. The plan is written somewhere. You just don't know about it yet.
Then send me a copy, and then I can use it.
Hold on. Like Dave said earlier, because he been a servant leader, he been a humble guy. He said, "Listen, here are my plans," and then he sent it to not one or two people that are his best friends or close friends or relatives. A lot of people, he said to them, "Here's what I want to do." Right? We talk about transforming the justice system, and then we talk about agriculture. We shouldn't be talking. Like just 2 weeks ago, the newspapers in Liberia were like, "Oh, we're gonna riot again because rice is Liberia is a fertile place. We can feed ourselves." Right? He said, "Listen, he said food insecurity is like insecurity of national is a national insecurity." If we can feed ourselves in our culture, say whoever feeds the man controls him, right? Who controls your belly controls you. What if China tomorrow say, you know what, we're not sending your rice, right? Our president know if we ain't got rice, that country is going to be destabilized. So he will do anything, any place that rice coming from, anything they want our president to do, he will do it. They can hold him captive, hostage, because he needs that rice. What if we can provide our own rice? What if we can have presidents that will do what's good for us, not what's good for the people that are making the rice for us. And we are able to do that. It's just that we have not had a leader with that vision, right? We have leaders that come and they're looking for quick fixes. Yes, we can get rice in Liberia. We can call someplace and get rice there in 2 weeks. and for us to turn Liberia into a self-sufficient producer of rice. It will take more than 2, 3 years, 4 years, and nobody wants to do that because they want quick fixes.
All right,
but that's because of the lack of vision. So,
gentlemen, I would rather have you back when I have a copy of the plan. Then we can talk plan. Now, I want us to dwell on winnability because
we can do that.
If he can win, those plans will remain wherever they are right now. This is a question here from my partner Dennis Job.
Okay,
he said, or he writes, the clean man attribute is also claimed by both Mr. Cummings and Mr. Bwaka. How is Councillor Gongloe compared to them when it comes to being Mr. Clean?
Are you asking me?
Let Dave take that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, maybe I will even ask Dennis to answer that question as well. This is a question that can be answered by anybody. Tiawan is clean. No even imaginative accusation of corruption. His record is there. People can go and judge him on that. Quiet and honest person. You saw what he did when he was the Solicitor General, when he was at the Ministry of Justice, even as president of the Liberia Bar Association. I think Dennis might have even maybe passed around one of his classrooms, as an instructor or professor of law at the University of Liberia. People who have passed through those rank and files will attest to that. If you've been a teacher in Liberia, if you've been a college professor and instructor, there are people there, there are indications there. Okay. Never have you heard that he has ever taken a bribe or have even attempted to steal. Even the pursuit of his law, there are lawyers in Liberia that make thousands and thousands of dollars on the back of the Liberian people. There are even lawyers who have swindled a lot of even big corporations. But look around the country, check every record, you won't find any of that. Okay, he is happy and satisfied with whatever he gets from his profession. He's not after self-aggrandizement. You don't see this guy who is moved by material gains. But if you look at the 35 plus years this councillor has spent in government or has actively participated in activities in Liberia, not a single one can attest that this is what he has done wrong. What set Councillor Gongloe apart from the rest of the people is his track record, his history, and his advocacy. Sometimes, Ansony, those of us who like to talk, who also like to criticize, mind you, there is something that is embedded in us that is our conscience. Okay. You do the very best so that you don't become too guilty. We call that dissonance in psychology. So when you talk about something a lot, when you criticize people, be very careful that you don't commit the same thing.
All right.
So the records are there. They are there, and I think if you have Mr. Clean, now we can call him Mr. Cleanest.
All right, gentlemen.
No. You're not going to skip me. You're not going to skip me with the question,
so you can respond. Let me read the comments. Let me read the viewers' comments. Let bring them in, and then you will have the time to respond.
All right.
This one is from Judy M. Wuhumu. I hope I got you right there. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Dr. Kwan. Let's keep pushing for a better Liberia with Tiawan Gongloe as the striker. So he said this guy is a striker. This one is from Domo. When your show is about Tiawan Gongloe, I came on your show when you are discussing your Southeastern Congo Kennedy Elizana Cummings you supporting. I don't follow. You see the country's problem. So Gongloe, he will come. The other guy is from Southeast, so he will not come. He's Congo, so he will not come. we have to do better. You can disagree, but to say you will not come, so you're only listening to one person, is that how we're going to build this Liberia? You are more of the problem. At least I'm discussing all of them, right? Let me read the comments. Murphy Dwopu, what fault does Tiawan have that makes him unsuitable for the presidency of Liberia? Gentlemen, mark that from Murphy Dwopu. He's a political scientist. He said, what fault does Tiawan have that makes him unsuitable for the presidency? That's a tricky one there. Willie Hinen, some explanation. Best feature of a person is perceived by their past. Let critically and realistically analyze all presidential aspirants. Rule of law is key in every situation. Let's keep the point that maintain Liberia needs rule of law. Okay. Matthew Dobo again. Every politician is claiming to be clean, something that needs more clarity and context, and I couldn't agree more. Matthew again, never heard about any landmark corruption case Tiawan persecuted under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That is significant. We have a lot. Yes, Tiawan is a transformational character, the best solution to Liberian politics. And gentlemen, these key points, please mark them down so you can have the opportunity to respond. Achimo or Frederick, they can't use the law to find them guilty, but they gave them a fair trial. They hear from Emmanuel here. We want to know more about the councilor's visit to the United States and the program that have been planned for. Yes, that's a good one there, gentlemen. I think you will do justice to that viewer to provide that information. That person might want to give you guys some money, and money will do this thing too. Money will help. Judy again, in a civilized country, the citizens will practically vote for a man like Tiawan Saye Gongloe as their leader, considering his track record of being for the people improvement. Lots of comments. Let's hear from Yini Gova A. San. He is one of those leaders that comes once in a century. We can't miss him. You can turn this guy around and won't see any dirt. He's corrupt free. He writes, let's hear from Anthony Connor. Anthony Connor is watching from New Jersey. Mr. Connor, thanks for watching us here. Let's hear from Paul here. Paul writes, look, Dr. Kwan, the real sedition may complain, but their hearts are still with President Weah. So don't be deceived by their complaints today in Liberia. I think he said that deceive, he meant to say. Continue here with more comments. Who has not commented here? Joseph Cummings, right? Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton misuse of office. And Bill Clinton, that's when I asked the question, and he said, well, they can't impeach or we are on that. I said, well, what's about Bill Clinton who got impeached on allegation, right? More comments here. Let me see this one from George Kwan. What if Mr. Gongloe teamed up with Ado Bwaka or Mr. Cummings? Will you guys still give your support to whoever Mr. Gongloe teams up with? Good question there. And then this is from Nelly Savage. Good discussion. Dave and Dr. Kwan, starting with you. Very good comments there. Your take, your response.
Now, there were so many comments, and there was something what was your last question? I wanted to comment on. I didn't write that down. But anyways, let me go back. I invited Mansfield Duopu. I sent him the link. And that's one of the transparency thing is that we're not just looking to listen to people that like us or that want us. We want to hear from other people's point of view too, to see what they think. I think somebody said they never heard about any kind of persecution during early time of corruption.
Yes, what that was about Matthew.
So one of the very first
landmark corruption cases that he prosecuted during early time.
Okay, all right. So that's not true. One of the very first cases that were persecuted. I think that was Judy Bryan, right? That was during early time, was it?
Yeah, it was during early
Yes.
time.
So this was a former president that was being persecuted for corruption. So if somebody said they never heard it, that means they haven't been looking long enough.
No,
right?
he only asking the question. I don't think he's.
No. I'm not arguing that. I'm just giving them one good case. Now the second case. Remember, the persecutor just don't take cases to court. So the way our criminal justice system works is the police does an investigation, they find a crime, they allege a crime, and then they bring it to the persecutor, and then the persecutor persecutes the case. So you don't have a vigilante persecutor that goes looking for cases. They bring the cases to the persecutor. And that gives more value to his point that, the political involvement in the running of the justice systems, that's where he got that idea from, like, okay, these politicians, because most of the people who want to persecute are politicians. And then it's like, okay, if the politicians are so entrenched within the justice system, it makes the dispensation of justice kind of lackadaisical, right? That's one. The second thing is like, okay, in order for any of those cases to have been persecuted, right? The allegation who have been made, and then the police does the investigation, and then they bring it to the prosecutor office and say, listen, we got enough evidence. You should know that not all cases are persecuted. The persecutor has to know that they can win before they persecute. So whenever a persecutor persecutes a case and loses, it dings them. It dings their judgment. You just don't go to court because you want to go to court. The Judy Bryan case was a bellwether case for Ellen and for Tiawan himself, because there was enough evidence. The investigation was even done by a West African entity, not Liberian.
Yeah,
and the evidence, Sieh, if you were doing journalism at that time, was a book. And yet, when it got into the Liberian system, Judy Bryan was acquitted. Right? So that was also a bellwether thing for him. Like, okay, I can come and bring all these. I can take Vani Sherman to court, but if I know that the court is going to follow the rule of law, if I don't know that they're able to convict Vani Sherman, it will be a waste of the nation's taxpayers' money to just take quick cases to court that you can win. So that Judy Bryan case was significant, and I know Mansfield know about that. So that case set the pace for the rest of Ellen's term, while most of the corrupt thing was not persecuted. Was when we take the case to court, and with the way the court system looks right now. That's why one of the first things he will do in the first 100 days will be a ban, make it a criminal offense for politicians to interfere. There was another thing. Somebody talked about Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton being impeached. They never impeached Bill Clinton for going out with Monica Lewinsky. Bill Clinton was persecuted for perjury. So, for example, adultery is not really a crime; it's a moral,
Are you sure he was not impeached for that?
No, he was impeached for perjury. When they asked him whether he had any sexual relations with Monica, and he said no. When he said, I did not have any sexual relations with that woman. That's what they impeached him for. And when they went to court while he was acquitted, Bill Clinton asked Kenneth Starr, he said, what's your definition of sexual relations? They gave all the definition. It didn't include what Monica and Bill Clinton did. So the judge said, well, according to your definition, Bill didn't do what you say, and he got acquitted for that legally. So there's a legal portion to that. There was another person that commented on, it said, don't mind what the seditions, they're complaining now, but it's deception. I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
Somebody talked when I was in Liberia last time, they came up with a theory called mutual deceptions, right? Where the politicians lie to the people and the people lie to the politicians as well, right? So you go there, you kill a cow and they say, we'll vote for you, but election day, they don't vote for you either. So now we probably won't know who's lying to who
Thank
until
you.
election day. But right now, we want to believe in the people. We believe that what they are telling us, that they are tired with the CDC, or they are tired with politics as a whole in Liberia now, that they need a new brand of person
Thank
that,
you. Thank you,
that
Dr.
will
Kwan.
go over it. The last point I want to make was from that same thing too. Oh, I think Mansfield just posted a thing again about what kind of fault does Tiawan has.
Yeah, I want Dave to take that one.
Okay, I'll leave it for Dave. I'll leave it for Dave.
And
But
Dave, this is the question
another
Matthew
comment.
is asking that I
Another
want you to
comment.
respond
Hold
to.
up,
He said,
hold up, Mr.
what
Sieh.
faults does Tiawan have that makes him unsuitable for the presidency of Liberia? Very tricky question there.
Well, maybe very tricky question. If you put that into context, maybe his fault is not building wealth for himself over the years. Maybe his fault is not corrupting the system as others have done in the past. Maybe his fault is not compromising his integrity, and that's that will make him unsuitable for the presidency. Maybe his fault is understanding the Liberian people so well, loving the Liberian people so well, and remaining in that country that I will stay here despite the 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 danger over my life. I will remain here even if Charles Taylor is trying to murder me. I'll remain here to defend the Liberian people, to be the poor man lawyer so that people will not take advantage of them. That could be I mean, that's the fault that I may see, within such a context. But I don't see any fault
And do you believe that
that
is
will make him
a
unsuitable.
disqualifying?
That will
Do you think that's a
that will
disqualifying
make him
fault?
unsuitable. Well, you see, Liberia is at a crossroad. We either, just as the Bible said, choose he today who you want to serve, who you will serve. Okay, Liberians, choose today who you will vote for. Do you want to vote for the group that is satisfied with just enriching themselves, riding beautiful cars, having gas slaves, you know, taking advantage of the poor and the vulnerable young girls, building skyscrapers, building mansions for themselves, or the poor Liberian lawyer who has committed his life and his professional responsibilities to you, the Liberian people? If that is the fault for which will disqualify someone to be voted for in his own country, I will stand with that kind of person. But so far, within the true definition of fault that will make somebody unsuitable for the presidency, I don't see that right now, except for his discipline, just like what somebody told Dr. Kwan, that do you know that if Councillor Gongloe win, you may not have the opportunity to swindle the system. You know that he will even persecute you if you do something wrong. And part of the reason, that's why some people, I'm not trying to look down on certain people, but in a real fair, transparent, merit-based system, there are some people in government right now that will not be there. And those are the people that are fighting against progress. Someone with no track record of doing anything, of working anywhere, of doing any tangible work will not hold certain position in that country that we have. If we have a real, transparent, merit-based system, it will be difficult for Mr. Jefferson Koji to become the mayor of the major city in that place. You may not have a Samuel Tuwe becoming a finance minister, someone who doesn't even have, I don't know what paper he has even written on financial matters.
Thank you.
Quite frankly. So we need to get serious about this country. Liberia is a very decent, beautiful country with a lot of well-informed people. We have the things in place. Liberia can be a great country. We can be better than Ghana, than Nigeria, all these countries that we run into every now and then. We were there before those countries.
Thank you, David.
We liberated those countries. We helped those countries. Some people in those countries got their wealth from Liberia.
Thank you.
and we can restore that, my people.
Thank you. And folks, again, you are watching the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. I'm your guy, Ansony Sieh. I have with me Sir Dave Toja and Dr. Saint Jikwan. They are from Saye Gongloe Diaspora, and we have been in conversation with them, and we have been discussing Tiawan Gongloe, the leader, assessing and prospecting Gongloe's 2023 candidacy. And also, we chime in a little bit on Gongloe's plan for a better Liberia, but for that one, I'm going to postpone it. I want to bring them back when I have received a copy of that plan, after reading it and digesting it. And then I will prepare my tough questions to see whether that plan is any good for Liberia and it's not a plan like all others. Gentlemen, let us take a little break. When we come back, we'll be taking your closing so that we can close the day. My cartoon is waiting for me somewhere, and you guys know what that is. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back for the closing. And folks, don't go anywhere. Their closing is the silver bullet to it. Dave said, as for me and my house, we shall vote for Tiawan. Is he the guy? A break, and we'll be right back. All right, gentlemen, this is when we now take your closing and parting words, and you can close either way you wish, but you can touch on the 10-point plan that we will be discussing when we should have you the next time. So we will start with Dave for your closing.
Ansony and the FOL family, I just want to express my gratitude for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts about the candidate that I respect, that I care for, and about the country, to discuss the country that I dearly love. There's no other country that we have, that I have, than Liberia. I may be in the United States and enjoy the immunity of the United States. This could be my second country, but my birthright is Liberia. And if Liberia goes well, things will go well for me as well, and for the rest of the Liberian populace. So this time around, 2023 is going to come. I believe that Councillor Gongloe is well suitable for the Liberian presidency. He will bring confidence to the office. He will bring respect. He will bring dignity to the to the office, and so that our children's children, the generations to come, will aspire for those kind of things. You see, and something I was also thinking about, the kind of leader you have impact the social and even mental development of the people, okay? Because leaders are role models. We want to learn from our leaders. We want to aspire after our leaders. So if you have a leader that doesn't stand for that much, that is not influential, that is not inspiring to the people themselves also become lackadaisical. So having a leader in the person of Councillor Gongloe, I think is going to do well. It's going to help our children. It's going to help our future generation, and it's also going to help them even in their critical thinking, in their academic work, because they can look up to someone who inspired them, someone who is from their ranks and file, from their own community, but has worked honestly and with high degree of integrity, and is where he is. That is going to inspire a lot of young Liberians, even older Liberians. It's going to inspire all of us. So I'm happy to be part of this team, and I'm happy that you have invited us. Thanks to Dr. Juan for also taking up the opportunity to be here. Thank you, Ansony, and thank you for the rest of the family. And thanks for all those who sent in their questions and their comments. Liberia is the only place that we have, and let us do the very best that we can do for that country so that we can have a better functioning and a vibrant Liberia. Thank you, and may God richly bless all of you.
Thank you, Dave, for coming. That's a point.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sieh, for this opportunity. I look forward to coming back and expounding on some of your questions and the audience's questions about this candidacy. I think it was one of the wisest guys that ever lived who said, doing the same thing but expecting a different result is the true definition of insanity. Our campaign is to the Liberian people themselves. They can't keep doing the same thing. If the last 3 elections you voted for the bag of rice or for the $5 US or for the lapa, and it has brought you to this place of despair, you need to change first. You need to change. You need to start thinking that this election coming up is about your future. It's not about what you can eat today. And if you start holding us accountable, 1,000 people can come to you and say, I get clean hands. Let them show their hands to you. Not just say, oh, believe me, trust me, I get clean hands. Let them open up their hands. Check them out, right? Check them out, whether their hands really clean. Everybody can say that, but check it out, whether that's true. And, you will find the truth. And it says the truth will set you free. Now, I must say that Tiawan has been the best agent for his own self. I called Liberia one time, like, how come the council was on the TV or on some kind of talk show every day? He's been overexposed. They said, no. One of the people told me, they said, listen, when it comes to Tiawan, he is his own best agent. None of us, when most of us go to talk for him, people know about us. They know some of the stuff we've done. But let Tiawan talk for himself. So in that light, we are inviting Tiawan to come here in the U.S. in the next few weeks. In fact, I think we have an occasion May 14th in Atlanta, Georgia, and we expect him to be there. And he is coming so that you yourself can ask him directly those questions that you have and hear from him. And hear the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts, and the principles that he espouses and that he wants to bring to politics. We know to some people they talk about it's not possible because he doesn't have money. But we prefer to believe that the Liberian people are going to be moved by the thought and the belief that a better Liberia is possible. We deserve better than where we are today. We are supposed to be the ones that give, not the ones that beg. We are supposed to be the head and not the tail. We're supposed to be the first republic in Africa, right? But it's not too late. We can start today. But it's going to take every one of us that's listening today to have that desire for a better Liberia. And it's not like only one person's going to change. We all are going to change. And my appeal to you is to continue to inquire and make it fair. Don't put Mr. A on one scale, Mr. B on a different scale, and then put Tiawan on a different scale. Put all of them on the same scale and see it, and see who can really stand. And like I said earlier, certain things I want you to remember. Anybody can promise you the skies, they can promise you the moon, but check them out. The best predictor of who they will be tomorrow is what they have been in the past. And if you don't know what they've been in the past, it's incumbent upon you to ask them, right? So I want to say thank you, guys. I want to see all of you, those of you here in the States. I want to see you in Atlanta, Georgia, May 14. Or if you're not in Atlanta, you can make it wherever states you are in. We are open for some invitations to visit as many cities and as many states to come over and ask Tiawan directly. Let him talk to you. because like Dave just said, he hasn't been in politics nationally. I haven't been in politics nationally in Liberia, but from talking to him, that's what brought me here today. So if you get to see him too, personally in a town hall, we will come. If you are in one of those cities that you visit and you invite us to your house, we will come to your house. We'll have dinner with you. So you talk to him, man to man, woman to man, and let's see that. Let us all work together to make this better Liberia possible.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you so much for coming and making the case for your team, Team Gongloe. This one is from Willie Hine. Can you please bring these great guys back next time? And so, gentlemen, compared note, get back to me. We'll be more than willing to find another time to bring you guys in. I think people want to hear from you. And also, you have an assignment here. This person is asking, does Tiawan Gongloe have a website for a person like me to donate financially? So that is something you need to look into. I don't want you to answer it now. And another thing that I saw here is, hello, Dr. Kwan, will the event on May 14 be broadcast virtually for those that cannot attend in person? I believe the answer is yes, because Team Gongloe has invited Focus on Liberia to cover their program. So I know for sure it is a possibility. And I see Panandoya is saying friendsofgongloe.com is the website. So for the person who are asking for the website, I see this one here. And gentlemen, Panando, you need to contact me. I need to bring you in that 10-point plan you're talking about. I want to look in it, whether there's something good there for the Liberian people. I got good eyes. Folks, I can't thank you enough for coming. Thanks for coming, and thanks for coming. And this is how I will close it. The search for leadership should not be taken for a joke. I believe we were joking when we made Samuel Doe president. We paid a price. I also believe we were joking when Charles Taylor got elected as president. We paid a heavy price. The country was put on an economic embargo. The sun that was sent to symbolize the poverty and the hardship, crushing one for that matter, was time so hard, time so rough. Everybody going banana. Everybody going crazy. It was rough, and I was there. I came close to poverty. I experienced it. I live it. It bites. It humiliates human dignity. It takes away one's worth as a human being. We got that punishment, harshly so, because we chose a leader who was not the right leader for the country. We've had enough of that. Then came Ellen Johnson Sully after Julie Bryant government was condemned corrupt. She came with all the titles, all the contacts. Money started flowing in. There was so much international goodwill. But then something happened. That thing is called corruption. It's vicious. It's merciless. Who brought it? Ellen came with it. She was not strong. She even admitted that she did lose the war on corruption, that she didn't fight enough. No car, millions get amazing, and the list goes on, and they squander opportunities. Someone said, Liberians are left with little or nothing. Who we choose to be our leader will determine where we go. Whether we go hungry, whether we go undeveloped or not, it is that leader who drives that agenda, who provides that path to a transformative Liberia, a glorious land of opportunities. With Tiawan be? I don't know. Because I want that person, that is what I'm asking all of the questions. Tiawan said he's going to win. Does he have the jewels? Does he have the strategy? Does he have the team? Can he resuscitate the LPP and make an opposition political party that is a government in waiting? When I see that, maybe he will be ready for prime time. He's going all around. He's speaking his mind. He's telling his truth. He's selling his message. Dr. Kwan said, he is a good messenger. Is a message good enough? Is it resonating with the Liberian people? He is at their mercy. Where they see him for who he claims he is, or who he believes he is. He's at the Liberian people's mercy. My job is simple. Ask them the question, make Liberian to see them for who they are, and if they are good enough, let the Liberian people be the judge. They will judge when that time comes. That time is 2023. We wish Tiawan well. May he succeed. And may we see a better Liberia. As for the others, I don't know who they are. I don't even recognize them. I recognize one guy called Tiawan with a proven track record. But will the Liberian people recognize him? I don't know. I wish I were the guy who decide. I don't decide. The Liberian people do. And so they have their future in their hand with Tiawan. They have their future in their hand with a Cummins, with a Bwaka, with a Wea, who is the worst of all. With a choosing again as they did a few years ago. I don't know. What I know is time will tell. And that time is coming soon. And that is why I have to leave you now. Thank you for watching. This is the Hour of Politics. And my name is Ansony Sieh. Until I catch you, when I catch you again, if you like, you can call me the trouble guy. But I'm looking for a better Liberia. On that note, bye-bye.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.